You're welcome to today's edition of Trends on KDM. And on today's episode, we jump straight to one trending podcast issue. Podcast. Podcast. Now, the issue of podcast has become a problem, right? When people are on podcast channels, there's various level of belief system that there's something in the air that it becomes very controversial. Some are saying that it is deliberate just to get the eyeballs. Some are saying they just sort of say those things just to get the podcast channels running. But we don't know. Maybe sometime from where we are standing, we will pick it like it's their original beliefs and what they believe that is right or is true to them. So you take it and then try to, turn it upside down and pass it through some forensic activities of the mind and to see how best we can actually shape it up. Because when you put something on the media, we also have to come here and sort of make sure that we are balancing the equation and we are balancing the energy that comes with that particular content. So this woman right here is someone that we've spoken about. I'm sure when I put the video, she's been trending for a while now. I don't know whether that's her trend or that's her brand, saying things that are controversial just to get the eyeballs, or that's her personality. Regardless of whatever it is, we are here to actually straighten up what one or two things she said. Now, I want us to watch this video and then I'll come back quick with the analysis.
Your definition where you said earlier about prostitution, where like you sleep with a man, you get money, or you hang out with him, you get money. Why I say marriage is prostitution is because what happens is women engage in marriage from a place where, okay, he's gonna take care of you financially, and there's a home for you both to live in. And what you are doing is you're fulfilling a role. So you're going to either be some sort of like homemaker, homekeeper, you're raising and rearing the kids, and you are partnering with him and sleeping with him in the hopes that the trade-off will be that you get validation, love, and upkeep. And the man understands and believes that if he continues to fulfill that role for you, then the arrangement works, because marriage is an arrangement. Now, why I say it's prostitution is because whilst it's not necessarily on the surface, you're fucking for a transactional exchange, there's something that you're fucking for.
So a woman right here is saying that she believes that marriage is a form of sex work. Okay, and what is her reasons for saying that? Her reason for saying this is practically because she believes that women give sex in marriage. They are the caregivers. They are the ones that groom the kids. They are the ones that take care of the children at home and everything. And in return, they get upkeep, they get validation and love and care from their husband. So she feels like, in a certain sense, marriage is a form of prostitution. Okay, so let's try to understand her situation, because when I sit here, I don't want to be biased. I want to actually balance the two in both arguments. I want to sit here, and at the end of the day, we just take it from a middle perspective and see which one is right. So from what she's saying, she's trying to say that, okay, there's a level of transaction even in marriage. Okay, so if I'm reading through her psychology well, what she's trying to do is she's trying to say that in a way, in a certain kind of way, she's trying to condone prostitution by comparing it to marriage. In other terms, you can't criticize prostitution because even marriage is a form of prostitution. That's how I'm seeing the whole thing. Okay, so people don't have the right to actually call people that they are into prostitution any names, which I believe that in a certain sense is true, because people have the right to make the decisions concerning what they want to do with their lives, right? And prostitution is one of the oldest career or oldest jobs that it has ever been known to man, right? So some people decide to go into it. I personally will criticize it, but in some kind of way, you can't tell someone what to do with their body or with their life. So that respect, okay, fine, you give it to people to actually decide on what they feel like is good for them. But it doesn't mean that because some other people feel that this particular thing is good for them means that we should allow it to sort of be a behavior that maybe the future generations or the young ones will learn. Because we look at the long-term effects of some of these things and it's not the best. So what she's saying, I feel like it's a more like condoning or sort of doing some kind of damage control for prostitution as a career by comparing it to marriage, because marriage is a very holy thing, it's a holy matrimony. Okay, it's a joint between a man and a woman that are willing to go through the journey of life together. But from what she's saying, she believes that if I'm thinking with her, then she is trying to say that since marriage is a form of transaction, whereby a man and a woman are going to be in the home, and then expect the man has an expectation from the woman has an expectation from the man, and in most cases, even when the woman is not in the right space sexually, or when the woman loses her beauty or her libido goes down, or she gains weight, normally men are not forgiving when it comes to those things. So she believes that in a way, men are taking women in as their personal prostitute that they sort of pay for when they are in marriages, and they intend the woman also gets some benefit from it. So she believes that from this school of thought, she believes that marriage qualifies to be an act of prostitution, and okay, that's what she believes. Okay, and it's wow, Charlie. So yeah, that's what she believes. But to me, if you ask me, it's rather a very intellectually lazy way of processing information or processing any kind of a situation. If you ask me, because I mean, let's be fair and then go into the dictionary and check what prostitution is. So let's cross check in Merriam-Webster to find out what prostitution really is in the dictionary, right? So it says sometimes offensive, the act or practice of engaging in sex acts and especially sexual intercourse in exchange for pay, right? So what this is saying clearly is the acts of exchanging specifically in sex acts for pay. There are no other conditions or other traits that the person is expecting aside the payment and the sex, right? So the woman that is going to prostitute is not going there for validation, care, whatsoever. She's in for the money, she's in for the bag. And the man that is going to meet the woman is specifically going in for sex. Whether the sex is to actually help him to de-stress or however or whatever reason he holds, that's none of the woman, the prostitute business. The whole point of the meeting from a prostitute standpoint is give me my money, and the man is give me sex. So there is no other conditions around it like she's comparing it to marriage, because marriage entails a lot. I mean, you can't take sex from marriage because marriage and sex goes hand in hand. It's sort of the thing, the glue that binds the sexual aspect of the marriage binds the marriage together and makes it last because from God's own unique wisdom, He has a way that He has created this kind of hormones that is generated when two people are having sex. In the process of having sex, that gets them to bond, right? So sex is, yes, an integral part of the mind, but it's not specifically for sex. It's for better or for worse. So two people decide that we are going to walk this journey of life together in terms of financially, emotionally, mentally, physically. You are going to be with me, and both of us are going to try to make our lives easier. In terms of emotional support, when I'm going through something, you'll be there for me. And if God is kind to us enough and we have a kid, we will find a way to use love, care, and attention to give to the kid and show the kid, also groom the kid on how to be a good member of the society. Now, marriage, outside of the sex and everything, is also an institution to groom a whole human being for the world. So it's a very sacred act because that's where people actually come. That's what, the divine actually created for human beings. Is an environment whereby human beings are actually groomed for them to be a substance or become an integral part of the society, because the mom and the dad have their unique energies that they play, the role that they play in a child's life. So this marriage is not something that is in any way should be compared to prostitution. I think it's a very unfortunate insult to the institution of marriage itself. And if people have to want to actually defend their cause, they should just be straight with it rather than finding these kind of lazy intellectual ways to compare certain things that are not supposed to even be in the same correlation or anything like that with what they want to compare. Because I feel is a typical example of a drowning man who hang on to a straw. It's like she has this opinion, belief system that I feel like it's not people are not really in support of it, and she's just looking out to grab something that is, of value, or anything that she can use to sort of support herself to stay afloat. But these things are rather unfortunate, and it's not something that we should condone in any way. Marriage is specifically for something more sacred. It's something more special. Two people decide that we want to be together and do this life together. But prostitution, like we read, it's not me that I'm saying, it's from the dictionary, and it's clearly stated that prostitution is specifically in exchange for money, and the man comes in for sex. And most men that are going to even, indulge in prostitution are specifically going in for sex. And most of them wouldn't even like to do anything serious with these girls that are prostituting, like in a serious relations. In certain cases, some of them end up with them, but in most cases, most men wouldn't even like to be in the same kind of a serious relationship with these kind of people, for some reason that sometimes I'm not even supposed to even say here, but I'm sure you know why. So some of these thoughts are very, and I don't know about how to put it, because now the media is, the young people are exposed to the media, and once some of these things are put out there and we don't come here to actually straighten it up, some of these young people might hold on to it as a belief system, and at the end of the day, by the time they realize, it would have done a lot of harm to them, because maybe they are gullible and they are naive about certain situations, and they might appeal to them, because she sounds like somebody that's really articulated, knows how to actually combine her words to make different. But the fact that someone knows how to speak doesn't necessarily mean that what they are speaking should be taken as something that is positive, or something that will be impactful to others, or that something that will be impactful to others. So, Charlie, this is what our woman here is speaking. There's a lot of things that we should be responsible for. It's not always about the media aspect and trying to get the eyeballs, but some of these things that are put out there are things that should be, scrutinized and thought of well, because some kids are exposed to these things, and it might not be of a positive addition to their mental value, and we should find a way to actually trim and prune some of this unfortunate mindset that they are trying to push to the young ones. So that's what this young woman is talking about. I don't know what you think about this, but seriously, I think this should be criticized. This is not a good thing that should be condoned in any way. If you want to live a certain life, that's fine. It's the personal decision. Nobody has the right to tell you what you should do with your life or your body. But leave other people as well to actually think of how they can also groom their kids. So that's the issue with regards to the prostitution, and how this young lady is talking about the fact that prostitution can and should be compared to marriage. So this personally, if you ask me, I don't think that is something that should be condoned in any way, because prostitution is entirely different from marriage. It's a whole field on its own, and marriage is a whole field on its own, and it should be separated as that. So with that one said, I'll end today's edition of Trends on KDM here. The name remains Donald and not Trump. I'll see you on the other side. Peace.